Your arms pinned back, your chest crushed to the ground, and behind you, a Viking executioner lifts his axe, not to strike you dead, but to slice open your back, snap your ribs apart, and drag your lungs out into the open air while you're still alive. This was not myth. This was the blood eagle, the most brutal punishment the Viking world ever imagined. The Vikings are remembered for their ships, their raids, and their fearless warriors. But hidden within their sagas lies something darker, a ritual that blurred the line between punishment and sacrifice. The blood eagle wasn't just about killing a man. It was about destroying him in the most humiliating, unforgettable way possible. According to the Old Norse legends, this punishment was reserved for only the worst enemies, traitors, oath breakers, or those who had deeply insulted a king. It was not common. It was not casual. The blood eagle was a statement. So how did it work? The victim was thrown to the ground face down, a sharp blade carved along the spine, peeling back skin and muscle. Then with terrifying precision, the ribs were hacked away from the backbone, cracked open like the wings of a bird. And finally, the executioner reached inside, pulled the lungs out, and spread them across the back. As the wind hit, the lungs would flutter, creating the image of an eagle taking flight. That's why they called it the blood eagle. One of the most famous stories comes from the Orkneyinga saga. It tells of a Viking named Halfdan, a king of Norway, who was captured by his enemy, Earl Torf Einar. Einar performed the blood eagle on him as revenge for killing his father. Another tale describes the sons of Ragnar Lothbrok, the legendary Viking hero. When Ragnar was executed in England by being thrown into a pit of snakes, his sons swore revenge. Ivar the Boneless and his brothers are said to have carved the blood eagle onto King Ælla of Northumbria, the men responsible for Ragnar's death. Imagine that scene. A captured king, the Viking warriors standing in silence, and the slow, brutal cutting of flesh as a message to the world. This is what happens when you cross us. But here's the question historians still argue about. Did the blood eagle really happen, or was it a terrifying piece of Viking propaganda? Some scholars believe it was literal, that Vikings actually performed this ritual in rare cases. Others argue that the sagas were exaggerating, turning poetic descriptions of cutting enemies apart into a legendary eagle ritual. Think about it. Cracking ribs open, pulling out lungs, and keeping a man alive long enough for it to be seen. It's horrifying, but not completely impossible with the tools they had. Even if the victim died halfway through, the spectacle would still leave an unforgettable impression. Whether myth or reality, the blood eagle wasn't just about killing. It was psychological warfare. Vikings ruled by fear as much as by sword, and a ritual like this made sure their enemies thought twice before betraying them. Picture it. If you were a king in medieval Europe, hearing rumors that Viking warriors could do this to you, would you risk crossing them? The blood eagle worked, not just on bodies, but on minds. So, was the blood eagle real? We may never know for certain, but what we do know is that the Vikings believed in its power, and that belief alone gave it life. It is said that death by axe was quick, death by sword was honorable, but death by blood eagle, that was a punishment worse than death itself.